Hey guys, it's me, Rodney, from Rustic Relics, and this is
Missy.
And today we're going to be painting some stuff pretty quick. I am going to be using Terra. Again, we used it yesterday in yesterday's video. We experimented a lot today at work on our downtime, trying to learn how to use it. And we learned a couple things today, and one of them was expectations versus reality. So it goes on darker and it dries lighter, and that's what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, so like these pieces were correct. This was correct. That's the correct color.
That's what it's supposed to look like. So we were wrong, and you know, what do? That's why we do this stuff, so we can experiment, we can learn how it works. That way you don't have to experiment with it. We do, and that way when you come into the store and you want to buy some of it, we're knowledgeable in the product, and that's why we do what we do.
So all right, yeah, that's the correct color.
And Missy's going to be using some Dixie Belle paint, just the regular chalk paint. You want to show them what you're painting?
Oh, I'm going to paint these frames up. I need some frames for my booth. So I have these old frames, but they just need a good paint coat. So I got Dixie Belle Fluff. It's just my go-to white because, you know, white frames. I might add like vintage duck egg or tea rose to it to put a little bit of spring color in it, but otherwise, I'm just going white. I need some white frames.
The thing I'm painting is this thing. It's a...
I think it's like you put like flowers and stuff in it, like a greenery type holder. You hang it up on the wall. That's what I would do with it. It's just like a decor piece.
Yeah, the front of it's metal. The body's wood.
Yeah. It's
already kind of neat looking. It's got a lot of texture, but I'm going to add more texture because I'm going to be dabbing with this Terra clay paint today to create a different type of effect and a different texture around the sides, the back, and the front. But today, right now, I'm only be doing the front and the sides. I'm gonna have to wait on the back because I don't have a place to set it down at. All right, let's get on with the show. Oh, and the color I'm using is a pink color. I don't know how to say the word, and I'm not going to attempt to. It reminded me of what color's your Bugatti is all I got to say.
So that's the color that you're thinking, right? That bright color, but that is not going to be the color. Do you need some water?
No. Yes, actually, yes.
Yeah. That's not going to be the color that it dries. So we definitely learned that. Today we learned it a lot.
So what I'm doing right now is I'm just roughing in some paint. So our two techniques are different. I rough it in, and then I'll come back in and dab to create the texture that I want, because right now I'm just trying to get the paint just kind of everywhere.
I'm just trying to open up my paint container.
You need me to do it?
I got it. It took me a minute.
All right, now I got it exactly the way I want it. So we're gonna come in here with some heavy. I'm actually like dabbing this thing. The kids hate it when I say it because I'll be like, give it a dabby dab. But I really dig the texture that you get from doing this technique. And you can actually dab so hard with it that you can actually take paint back off the surface, which is a problem in and of itself. We don't want that, so we're going to go over the areas where I dab too hard. Alright, see how easy that was? It's full coverage, it's a lot of dabbing, and it's a lot of texture. The cool thing about kitchen counters is they clean off pretty easy with this type of paint. You just literally wipe it off.
Yeah.
If it wasn't, we wouldn't be doing it on the kitchen counters. It's not like I would be doing much cleaning anyways. I just get in the way. That old husband trick. I just get in the way.
I just get in the way. Yeah.
I just can't do it. I don't know how to do that. I'm not as good at it as you. I like to say that one too.
That's
you know, our kids have picked up on that saying. Like, they say it all. We're just not as good at doing it as you are, Mommy. And it's like,
They're still in your line.
Yeah, well, they're also using it against me, like Gavin would taking the trash out.
Yeah.
Well, I just don't know how to do it as good as you do, Uncle Rodney. I'm like, yeah, okay, buddy. Get somewhere. So see, I just quickly went over the side of that. I think this is going to be a one coat and done on this one. And I'm pretty happy about that.
You know, they say that about it.
Because, I mean, look at this. I'm not beating it. I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm just tapping it onto the surface. Let's brush it on. Well, see, I got to brush something on there. We're just going to put a little bit more on my brush. We're going to brush it on there kind of thick. Then we come back in. Dabbing. You don't want to waste your time with a bunch of long video. Because it gets boring when you're watching something and the person's not talking. It's like, oh man, come on, at least tell me something, you know? So,
are you talking about me because I don't talk?
She doesn't talk.
I don't talk
which
when
is funny because she talks all the time at the house.
I do, but I don't talk when I'm focused though either. So like,
she'll record a video and not say 2 words. And then we get home and it's blah, 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 blah. And it's like, all right. What's going on? Wow. Where's that quietness from the video when we get home, you know?
I'm just focused on the job that I'm doing.
Yeah, it's funny. And our kids do that too. Blah, 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 Daddy, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, kiddos. I get it.
Out of everybody, who talks the most?
I do. I talk all the time.
You
so
do,
it's not a big
all
shock.
the time.
Yeah. Our friend the other day, well, no, it was today actually. She said that I talk a lot and that I'm really bubbly. And in the last video we did where we did the booth tour, I was a little too bubbly. And I was like, well, you told me to be more bubbly, you know. She said, but you're already bubbly enough. I'm like, okay, I'll calm down some. Because I was. And it was a pretty good day anyways because, you know, we had the chipmunk get in the store and drive everybody crazy. You know.
Sorry, it was an eventful day for sure.
It drove me crazy. You see where it's already started to dry out a little bit? Now I'm just going over it and creating even more texture as it's drying. So it gives this really chunky effect. Like, it's really, look at this. What do you think about that? Look at that texture.
It's definitely got texture.
I think it looks super cool.
Yeah, I like it.
She don't like it.
I do like it. The color.
She don't like the color. I chose this color,
yeah.
but you know.
So what
You gotta go with things that you like.
Is it gonna dry darker or lighter?
It's gonna be a lighter color than this. I was looking, so the front of it is not accurate. So the front paint swatch on the can is about the same as the color on the inside. But if you look at their color chart and their swatches that they provide separately, that is the dried color. So it is very accurate as far as what, like, yesterday's blue agave looked. That's exactly how it's supposed to look. So that's it. I think I'm done with this piece. I've tapped the bottom, I've tapped the sides. I mean, I've really tapped it. And now we just gotta let it do its thing. I'm gonna set it down gently.
It does dry fast.
And voila.
I did learn that.
Y'all probably hear our dogs whining in the background because they want to go outside. But old Emily will let them out, our oldest daughter. She's our big helper. I can't believe I did that. We'll just add that little bit to this. Look at that chunky texture. Emily, come here and look at this. Look at this chunky texture I added to this. Come tell me what you think about it.
I like the color.
You like the color?
Yeah.
I think what I'll do is maybe after I put a coat of the sealer on it, the matte sealer, I think what I'll do is I'll put maybe some black wax over the top of the sealer and kind of get in here around the edges to darken that up. Not the high spots, but I'll take it with my finger and get it into these dark spots to really make that, I don't know what that pattern's called, but make it stand out from the rest of it. Because the texture is just, I'm digging the texture. I might end up having to put a second coat on it though, with some more dabby dabs. I told you. You can probably hear Emily laugh right there when I said dabby dab, because they get mad at me when I do it. But look at that. Just give it a couple dabby dabs and we're good to go. All right, I'm gonna wash my brush. So just in case you guys are wondering, I'm cleaning my brush with just Dawn soap and water.
It washes, the Terra clay paint washes out really easy, but it might leave your brush stained. I learned that.
That's not bad though.
No, it's not bad, but like the color is so pigmented that it could actually, it just like stains it, but it's not, I mean, like it washes out, like no problem.
Yeah, you're right about that. It stained it a little bit, but like you said, it washed out really, really easy. Dixie Belle makes a clean as a whistle brush cleaner.
Yeah.
And that's if you let buildup get on your brush. If you clean your brushes the way you're supposed to, you should not be getting buildup. But on the occasion that you do, because it is an off chance that you might do that, their clean as a whistle product works really good. We soaked some brushes in there that we had accidentally let get dry while we were waiting on a project to cure.
Right.
And it came right off. And we've been using the same, somebody asked me this today, about how long we've been using our brushes. We've been using the same 4 brushes for, what, 2 years now?
I can't remember. It's been a while, though.
It's ever since we've become full elite retailers, I know that. So we carry their silk paint, chalk paint, and now we carry the Terra paint.
I mean, I know that the paintbrushes can be expensive, and it can be a little bit like, what? I'm not spending that on a brush, but the quality of your brush is everything. If you have really good paint and a really bad brush, then the project could possibly not turn out right. Your brush makes a huge difference in how the paint goes on and how smooth it is. It's just, it also makes a difference in like what you're looking for, as in the texture, like how you did yours.
And on mine, I actually used Dixie Belle's Best Dang brush.
Yeah.
It's a wax brush, but it's got the natural fibers, so it just spreads.
It
doesn't spread out as much.
What brush? What's that?
This is the oval medium.
Yeah.
The oval medium it's a high dollar brush, but it's
look
like
how
she said.
Smooth it goes. Like it paints everything on so smooth.
But
it also allows you to get into detail, because like this frame has the detail around the edges, so it lets you do that, but then it also lets you smooth it out.
And like she was saying, with the more expensive brushes, no matter the brand, the more you pay for your brush, the better the quality. The less likely it is that a bristle's going to fall off in your paint or get stuck. Nothing's worse than using a cheap brush from, whatever big store you go to get it.
Right.
And that $2 brush leaving fibers in your paint job, and you're not noticing it until
it's too late.
It's too late, because then it's dried, and
then once a bristle is in there, it's gonna leave a line. You're gonna have to sand it down,
unless you're using clay, and then you can just kind of
wipe it down, I guess.
Wipe it to smooth it. But if you're doing texture work, I mean, it might even add to the texture having a couple of little brush fibers in there. I wouldn't like it personally, but you never know.
Right.
Dixie Belle paint has really good coverage. Her favorite product to use here lately has been the silk line of paint.
Which we should do a video on the silk.
because it's pretty cool. It's a one and done, so it's got your
one and done
base coat and your top coat, primer, all built into one paint basically. Very little effort has to be put into prepping your surface. A lot of people say no prep. That's everybody loves to say no prep, but I always recommend cleaning your piece off really good and giving it a light scuffing. Just not a bunch. I'm not talking about getting in there and sanding it till your hands.
You can use
are
a
hurting.
sanding pad.
Yeah, just a light scuff.
Sometimes that's all you need.
Because sometimes you'll have some buildup on there that just cleaning won't take off, like Pledge or Howard's products will build up on a surface, and it makes it almost impossible to paint it. Your paint will just lift. Also, if you don't rinse your cleaner off good enough, no matter what brand the cleaner is,
Right.
it will lift. I guarantee it. And it's kind of crazy because you just rub your hand across a surface and there goes all that fancy painting you did.
Yep.
But we've never had that problem with silk though. But we always take the time to prep our pieces and get them ready.
Yep.
All right, we're gonna let these dry, guys, and we'll come back and give you a shot after they're dried up and done. All right, guys, we're back, and now I'm gonna be applying my clear coat. See how it dried to this pink color? Okay, we used a heat gun to dry this stuff a little bit faster. I don't recommend doing that because does it really dry underneath it well? Probably not, but in this video, it was thin enough that I think we can get away with it. Chalk paint by Dixie Belle Chalk Paint, on the other hand, this stuff dried so fast before we got the rinsing the brushes out, they were dry. So I'm gonna be applying my Terra Matte now.
But the Terra dries fast too, though.
Terra Seal-Matte, it does, but not as
No,
fast.
the Terra clay paint dries fast.
It does.
Yeah.
It dries fast.
You can just watch it dry.
Silk dries the fastest.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean the slowest. Chalk paint dries the fastest.
Right.
She's just agreeing with me now. She didn't catch the first error. All right, so we're gonna light coat this and we'll be quick. And I'll tell you why, because if you remember in that video last night, she was pulling highlights off of stuff.
Yes.
And I don't wanna do that, so we're gonna just lightly brush. I'm using the Dixie Belle Mini Flat. She likes the angle, I like the Mini Flat. And I'm just gonna be sealing. Nothing hard, no hard brush strokes. Lightly get in there. Lightly get your sealer on there. Because we gotta seal it if we plan on putting some dark wax over the top of it. They have a wax, but I could not find it to order, so it may not be available for order yet. Also, guys, this stuff is not self-leveling,
No.
so
That's why it's a good ombre paint,
yeah, it's good for blending.
blending. If you're wanting to do a piece with a lot of detail, if you're wanting to add detail to a lot of a piece, like unique furniture, how you with the paintings on it and stuff like that, it's just an all-around.
Yeah, you can be a true artiste with this paint.
Yes, you can.
Not saying you can't do it with Dixie Belle, but this builds up layers similar to a heavy-bodied acrylic. So if you paint with like, who makes that product? Golden Open is a heavy-bodied acrylic paint that gives you a long work time for like artists. So we want to make sure we try to get this even and smooth. What I like about this stuff is it goes on with a white appearance.
Yeah.
That way you know exactly where you got and exactly where you didn't.
No matter, even the Dixie Belle clear coat is the same way. It goes on with like a milky appearance. So it lets you see where you are going.
And if you're looking for a truly flat paint, Dixie Belle's flat clear coat is as flat as it gets.
Yeah.
We use it all the time to keep that flat finish on top of silk.
If you don't want a
on top of
sheen or
chalk paint.
you just want that true matte finish, that's the clear coat to use.
Notice how I keep all my brush strokes trying to go in the same direction. That way when this clear coat dries, hopefully there won't be any bubbly in it. because I think the clear coat itself is self-leveling, but you still want to try to avoid getting bubbles in it.
I've never had a problem with the clear coat doing that. It's always done really good for me.
Well, I shook the paint up instead of stirring it, so that makes a difference. I'm a paint shaker. Stirring's good. I don't have time for that. I like to get it done. Gives you the same results. Just want to make sure that you get your brush loaded with your clear coat and go over it. If you get little air bubbles like in that zone right there, see how in this little zone right here it's getting air bubbles in the clear coat? It's because I was going too fast with the brush. So we'll smooth that out and get those air bubbles out. See that? Right out. Then we'll come around the side, make sure we don't have any overlap. Single run with the brush, single run with the brush. It's just like painting with I mean, it's just like using a clear coat like polyurethane. Okay, that's a heavy-bodied sealer, just like this stuff. This stuff is actually a
like
acrylic
gator
sealer. Gator hide goes on like almost a blue appearance. Gator hide's really a really good product. See right here on these highlights. So since they pulled through because I brushed it one too many times right there, we're going to make sure that we get the dark wax in there on those spots to cover up that little mistake I made. And it's easy. It's just really easy to make that mistake. Because if you use your brush too hard, the clay paint comes right back off of it. And it's designed to be that way because it's a multi-layered paint. Now, we're not doing anything multi-layered because, one, that takes a lot more time. Two, sometimes simple is best. So you painted those two pieces. I thought you painted that duck egg.
So their duck egg is the first coat. And then it dried, and then I went over it with a white. And then I'm taking this old towel and just kind of just like hitting up the top part. So like, see how the duck egg can pull through?
Oh.
Just like that.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know. Do you wet it first?
The towel is wet, yes.
Okay.
Not soaked.
Well, mine's drying, so I'm gonna go wash my brush. This time I'll mute the mic so it doesn't make that annoying sound.
So I'm just kind of wiping back some of the white paint that I just put on. So that way some of the blue, the duck egg shows through. And then it's okay if some of the frame shows through too. That too. I'm just trying to give it a little bit of distressing. So I'm gonna let this one dry a little bit more before I go and do that. That's that. And then I'm gonna do the same thing for these. I'm just gonna paint them white and then let the tea rose. I don't know why I'm kind of obsessed with these colors. Well, okay, I'm obsessed with the green. I really love the dark green. And then I'm really liking these, the duck egg and the tea rose. Maybe it's just the season change. And then I'm also obsessed with blue glassware, so I don't know. I just might be obsessed with all of it.
She's in a lot. She's obsessed with a lot.
I just like a lot of things. I want to like them all. There's so many pretty things, though. There's a bunch of stuff at the store that's came in over the past couple of days that's, well, today and yesterday. So we got how many new vendors?
5.
We got 5 new vendors. Furniture, signs, collectibles. There was a Jadeite juicer, which that got posted on our page today. One of the vendors has a lot of Roseville pottery in amazing condition. So
One even brought in a caution light.
yeah, there's a caution light at the store. I thought that was cool, and it works like it's plugged in. It says caution, stop in this booth. That's what it says. And what were them suitcases? Were they, do you remember what brand they were? Were they Samsonite?
One of them was, I know.
A Samsonite one?
Yeah. But it sold.
Did it sell?
Yeah. To Miss Kathy. Oh, that's looking really pretty.
You see
I see what you did. It looks
see what
really
I'm
good.
doing?
Yeah.
See what I did right there.
So this is pretty much what we do every night. We're just recording it now.
Yeah.
Because some people want to learn how it is we do things. And it's a good way to learn more about us, I think. Because you get to see the non-store version of us.
Sometimes if I have the space in the back and I have a decent piece of furniture, I like to paint it in the back.
So the back of our store is a huge mess.
It's everything. It's storage,
It's layaways,
layaways, it's
sold items.
supplies, online,
Yeah, we have to keep our online inventory separate from
Inventory.
our store inventory. And that's a huge pain sometimes.
displays, Christmas, all my Christmas.
Yeah, so we have all these old 1920s, 1930s, and 40s animatronic Christmas toys, Christmas display guys that do
Displays.
this robotic stuff. And some of them work really good. I got to repair a couple of gearing mechanisms on some. I think I might do that this year because I think you're wanting to use them this upcoming Christmas
I
in
definitely
the window.
am wanting to pull them out.
So in Clanton, we do this old school window thing every year. Everybody decorates their windows for Christmas, just like you would see in the old Hallmark movies and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's really fun. She loves decorating windows. And sometimes she'll con me into like painting a window, and I usually get really nervous when I'm trying to paint a window because everybody's looking when they drive by and
You're
stuff.
good at it though.
Being good at something and wanting to do it is two different things. All right, guys, we're going to let everything dry. And when we come back, we'll be doing the dark wax on my piece and whatever Missy's going to be doing on hers. Because I really don't know what she's got going on over here. Because she got the duck egg off, and now she's painting more
No, I had a fingerprint.
fluff, putting it back on there. So it's like, okay, what are you doing?
I had a fingerprint.
All right, guys. We'll be back. Okay, guys. We're back. The sealer's dry. She's done doing a lot of her stuff. And we're going to go on to doing the black wax on this. We're going to be hitting the low-lying areas. I'm trying to stay away from the high areas. I'm going to hit the low-lying areas and the little build-up. Be using clear wax and black wax. Clear to make things run a little smoothly so I can be able to work with the wax a little bit better. And the black wax obviously is going to do its thing. And I got a glove on just in case because I want to rub some of it in there with my finger, and I'm going to use the brush to soften that up. So a little bit goes a long ways. So you want to just get in here, kind of go around. You use your little brush, and I use a little cheap brush for this stuff. Ain't no sense in using a super expensive brush for just doing some detail work around some edges. And the clear wax will help to soften any of this up where it's too strong at. But sometimes I like the strong appearance that the black wax gives a piece, especially on the low line areas. All right, guys, check it out. Check out what Missy's done. We come out of their high speed for you to check this out. I think she did a really good job with that.
So I just white waxed it, and then we have some scrap wallpaper, and I used it as a background, and then an old hymn page and just some greenery. I just kind of framed it just to give it something. I mean, you can leave it in there, you can take it out. I think I'm gonna actually hit these details right here with some of that black wax that you have to just kind of make it stand out a little bit more.
If you see what I've done, I'm doing something a little bit different than I originally planned. I'm letting the piece tell me what it wants to do instead of me telling the piece what it wants to do. So I've got a lot of buildup of wax in the upper portion.
Maybe that lid to the black.
And now I'm going to be going through with a little bit of clear, trying to soften some of this up. And we'll get us a nice, deep, pinkish, blackish, almost like a worn, weathered look out of it when I'm done. We're going to go back into fast forward mode now. All right, guys, here's the final piece. I'm done with it. See how that when I came back through and I lifted a lot of that black back out using the clear wax, and it ended up giving me a result that I really like, where there's a little bit of darkness in the highlight in the higher areas, but mostly it's clear, and they're in the lower areas where all the texture is. Now on the sides there's a little bit less texture, but look at how that really, I really like the way this is looking. What do you think, Missy?
I like it. I think every time we use the Terra clay paint, I think it seems to get better. Do you think?
Well, yeah, most definitely. Because I'm really digging this high textured look with the black wax. Again, before you apply the wax, you have to matte coat it first or use the Terra Tough. It has to be coated or it will just come right off.
The Terra paint will come off.
Yeah, the Terra paint will just come right off of it.
Off.
They make a wax for it, like I said, but it's not available for purchase yet from what I've seen.
That one.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
Just same thing. White waxed it, then went over it with black wax and just scrap wallpaper and just a little. This piece right here, okay, see how I just ended up scraping it off? So I should have sanded this one. I didn't think that I had to. And they say, you know, sometimes they say you don't have to sand anything, and you don't all the time, but this piece is kind of shiny. I should have known better than that. So it's just an easy sanding and starting all over again. No big deal. No big deal. So that's that on my pieces, because that one's a no good.
All right, guys, this is our final results. Again, I painted this in Terra clay paint, Bougainvillea. I don't know if I'm not. I know I'm not saying that word right. It's just the the purplish pinkish color by Dixie Belle Paint. I used the Dixie Belle Terra matte finish over the top, and then I came back in with a mixture of clear and black wax by Dixie Belle Best Dang Wax. And I'm really pleased with the results I got out of it. Not only did I get a lot of texture from the paint, but the black really picked up a lot of the texture detail that's there. And, you know, I wasn't liking the fact that the highlights had come through in a couple spots, but in the end, I kept it because it's kind of neat looking. Gives a really neat effect. But I did the sides too. Obviously, I'm still going to paint the back, but that's for a different day and not for a video. That's it for my stuff. Missy?
So I had 4 frames, but the one's messed up. So 3 frames. I went over it in, let's see, this one I went over in the vintage duck egg first, and then, yeah, these 2 was a tea rose, and then I went over it with white fluff, and then I kind of wet distressed it back some, and then white waxed it, and then went over it with some of the black wax, and then I just put some fun prints in the frame. So that's it.
That looks good.
Yep.
If you like what we're doing, make sure you hit a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel if you really like what we're doing. And hit the notification bell to get notifications for our next videos that might be coming out. And that's about it, guys. Visit us at rustyrelis.com. Check us out on Facebook. Y'all have a great day.